The Conservative candidate for South Thanet in Kent, Craig McKinley, has been charged with offences relating to his election expenses in the run-up to the last general election. The Crown Prosecution Service said Mr McKinley, who's standing again on June the 8th, and 2 other Tory party workers will face charges under the Representation of the People Act. Here's our Home Affairs correspondent, Nigel Farage.
Craig McKinley.
It was one of the big Conservative wins in the last general election, stopping Nigel Farage in South Thanet. Their candidate, Craig McKinley, won by just under 3,000 votes, after talking during the campaign of all the support he'd had from big-name politicians.
We've brought so many powerful members of the government team down here to show that I'm part of a very strong team.
But today, Craig McKinley, who's standing for re-election, was charged with making a false declaration of the money he spent on his campaign. Also charged his agent, Nathan Gray, and Marion Little, a Conservative Party headquarters campaign specialist, accused of aiding and abetting the other 2. This was the moment Nigel Farage found out about the charges while he was out campaigning this morning.
You're joking? Oh my good Lord. Right, that's big news. OK, thank you. Craig McKinley has just been charged. Once again, it is bad judgment from Theresa May. You know, why on earth would you allow someone to go ahead as a general election candidate when this cloud was clearly hanging over him? And I think it will, there'll be questions.
It was not the big-name politicians that all passed through South Thanet 2 years ago that have led to this case. It was the thousands of pounds spent on hotels for party activists, disclosed by Channel 4 News. These were picked up by the National Party and put on their expenses return. But police have been investigating whether in fact they should have been entered on Craig McKinley's local campaign expenses, an investigation that has now led to him being charged.
The Conservative Party continues to believe that these allegations are unfounded. Craig McKinley is innocent until proven guilty, and he remains our candidate.
Craig McKinley has said he will continue to fight for re-election, standing in this general election while accused of declaring false expenses in the last. Daniel Sandford, BBC News.
Well, let's go now to our correspondent Charlie Rose, who's in Ramsgate for us now. Charlie.
Well, Rita, I've spent the morning here in South Thanet. I went to the Conservative Party flat, just a few hundred yards from me here in Ramsgate, to look for Craig McKinley. And then I went to the Conservative Party office down in Broadstairs. No sign of Craig McKinley at either of those 2 places, but he has now released a full statement, as you heard in Daniel Sandford's report there. He describes the Crown Prosecution Service's decision as shocking and says he's done nothing wrong. He says his candidature in South Thanet is entirely unaffected and his campaign will continue as before. With the general election, though, in just a few days' time, we've yet to see how this will affect the vote down here in South Thanet, if at all. The function of the election will be unaffected, though. We've contacted Thanet District Council and the Electoral Commission. They say Craig McKinley's name will remain on the ballot paper. Of course, postal votes have already started, and they say that being charged is not a ban on being a candidate. We've received a statement from the Conservative Party. They say that the allegations put before Craig McKinley, his agent Nathan Gray and party activist Marion Little are unfounded. Rita.
Charlie, many thanks. Our correspondent Charlie Rose there in Ramsgate.